Hello everyone, welcome to Recaps Tube. Today we will summarize a thriller horror film called Walled In. So, it's time to recap. Beware, spoilers ahead. Watch out, take care and enjoy. In the opening scene of the movie, we can notice a young girl trapped in a little chamber, whose walls are solidified. Later on, when the young lady wakes up, she becomes alarmed to be there. She weeps for help, however nobody was there to pay attention to her allure. From there on, her chamber began to be loaded up with cement. She cries yet nobody was there to pay attention to her. In almost no time, the chamber loaded up with cement, and the young lady was covered in it. Accordingly, the scene shifts following 15 years. Presented the principal character of the film as Sam Walzak, who is a young demolition engineer. She has as of late finished her graduation. She has a place with a wealthy family and her dad is a proprietor of an eminent organization. Her dad extends her an employment opportunity in his organization and assigns her a project on an old structure. If she becomes successful, her father will give her a partnership in his company. She becomes excited. The following day, she leaves for a site. She is a designer, so she has to plan everything by observing the building named Malestraza. She comes before the other workers to examine the site. This building no doubt was too old, but its architecture makes it astonishing. The Malestraza building was too delicate and it took artistic skills to construct. Actually, this building was made by a man named Joseph. She thinks Joseph might be a genius to make such a building in this area. As this area isn't developed enough, even it couldn't catch mobile signals. When she gets in, she meets with a woman named Mary and her son Jimmy. They are caretakers of this building. Mary informs Sam about her room. Jimmy goes with her to show her room. Here Mary acknowledges Sam about the values and rules of the building. By any method, she doesn't have to go to the last floor, which is the room of Joseph. Second, she doesn't have to go to the terrace. Sam was already impressed by this building, but she feels mysterious too. As she passes the corridor, she hears mysterious and strange voices. She ignores it earlier, but once while taking shower she hears the loud noise of a child's cry. Seems like she wants to talk with her. At night, when the caretaker Mary comes for the meal, Sam inquiries about the members of the family. The caretaker tells only 4, the rest of the workers have gone earlier. Few of the runoff even leaves their baggage. To know the secrets of this building, no one dares to live here. Upon Sam gets wondering about the secret. As of now, the building is to be broken, it doesn't matter anymore. Sam takes a meal silently and sleeps. On the following day, she starts her work, and she has to find some specific points, by which the building falls by the blast itself. As she measures the building, she gets to know about the trouble in the design of the building. Here on the wall, 16 feet distance was reduced. Sam goes upstairs to check on the terrace. She doesn't get the answer, but she becomes acquainted with the secret residence of Jimmy. Now she realizes why Jimmy forbids her to visit the terrace. Later on, Sam visits a shop to take information about this building. She knows about the dark history of this building. She acknowledged that in 1993, 16 dead bodies were found in this building. One of them was the owner Joseph. They believe a factory worker behind this belonged to a criminal background. Police have never found that worker, for that the case doesn't proceed further. Sam gets shocked to know. Now she realizes the discussion of caretaker Mary. She was going to leave, but on the way she met Jimmy. He was standing with his dog. Sam inquires why he lies to her that Joseph is alive, and also forbade going upstairs. For that, Jimmy promised Sam to take her to the roof, but after her mother would sleep. Actually, she asks Jimmy to get himself away from Sam. She doesn't want Jimmy to meet Sam. But Jimmy likes Sam. On the other side, while Sam was marking on building, a man came toward her with an axe, named Burnett. He was very upset. He too lives in the same building because he doesn't have another place to live. He was the secondment of the building after the arrival of Sam. He realizes that he has to go. So, he was quite worried. Later on, she goes to the last floor. Up there, she finds numerous books, which all belong to Joseph related to architecture. She finds a book, Primitive Belief in Architecture. She likes and takes that book. At night, when she reads that book, she acknowledges many interesting facts about Egyptian practice. During the construction of buildings, humans were sacrificed. They believe for this the building becomes strong. Later on, Jimmy knocks at the door to take Sam towards Joseph's apartment. While walking, he tells her about the history of this building, but not in detail. It gets to know that Joseph didn't work for money but for passion. He was too secretive. No one knows how he seems. When one by one people started missing, everyone suspects that worker. Everyone considers that he has made secret apartments. For that he was terminated. They supposed the rays mirror were applied to people's houses. With that, he could see everything. Then police were called to arrest him, but he ran before the police came. No one knows where the people were disappearing. This worker made a mistake. Her victim was a young girl. When the police arrived, the dog helped the story towards that girl and started to walk in front of that wall. Later they found the dead body of that girl, along with 15 more dead bodies. One of them was Joseph, whose appearance was too damaged. Later on, the caretaker identified him. Her husband, the father of Jimmy, was also found dead over there. After that, people started to escape. During the conversation, they reached towards Joseph's room. There was nothing, as Joseph doesn't use furniture. In the dark room, Sam runs here and there. Later on, they observe a picture of Joseph on the wall. Jimmy Mischief informs her that his spirit of Joseph runs off. That's why he said he's alive. Sam isn't terrified. Later on, she witnesses a black shadow. She terribly runs and goes separate from Jimmy. Sam again hears the voice of the young girl's cry. She was calling her and singing a song. Sam becomes worried and senseless. Jimmy first aids her. His intention wasn't good. He tried to take advantage of her. Sam rebukes him and pulls him out. After his departure, she visits the apartment. In the same house a little girl, Jolly, lived. Suddenly Sam feels the girl wants to say something and she goes to sleep. In her nightmare, she noticed blood on the wall. She goes towards the wall there and pulls her in, just like the little girl. She too was buried. She suffocates and is terrified by this experience. She wakes up and cross-signed appears on the wall of the room. It means someone visited. Who and how? Later her boyfriend appears to surprise her. She becomes happy and takes him to the 8th floor. Watching Joseph's apartment open, they go in. The caretaker Mary was already there sitting and closed the door when she went outside. They were locked. Later she remembers the shortcut informed by Jimmy earlier. She starts to find the sign. Then she finds a window which goes towards the ground floor to the garbage room. Then she perceives that a hole from every bathroom appears. She reminds the whispering of that day was of Jimmy. It was his mischief. He was keeping an eye upon her. She realizes that last night Jimmy did this too. Along with him was that tall man, Burnett. They want to pull out Sam from the building, to save it from the break-in. Later she calls a worker who confesses somehow. Sam complains to the caretaker Mary about Jimmy. Late night evenings, Sam and her boyfriend are intimate in her room. Jimmy is on the other side of the wall listening and feeling distraught. The next morning they find Jimmy's dog dead. Her friend wants to return and Sam prepares a report about this building. She wants to know the secrets of this building. Jimmy appears to excuse her and is given a diary to Sam called Malestraza's journal. Sam understands the structure of this building and the answers which remain unsolved will be found in this diary. According to Malestraza's journal, there is a huge circle in the middle. If her knowledge is authentic, it was in the backyard of the garbage room. Impressed with Egyptian architecture, Joseph wanted to make the building like pyramids. On the top floor where they find 16 dead bodies, there must be another room in the basement where the sun directly reflects. Such skills and expertise couldn't be possible for any ordinary worker. There was no confusion to anyone that was the planning of Joseph. Now the time comes, to brood over his last plan. Sam starts to find it from the ground floor and Jimmy goes upstairs to find the secret passage. Jimmy didn't come for a long time, so Sam along with her friend goes to find him. In the same place under the solar panel, there was a big hole. This was the place that people were searching, but Jimmy was not there. Later his voice heard on the ground that he could not come and he was injured. For that Sam holds the rope in her hand with her friend. As she goes down the stairs, someone kills her friend with an arrow. His dead body falls upon Sam. Sam falls down and gets faint. After a while, she comes to her senses and finds herself in a basement area with a stranger who declares that Jimmy has befooled her and he doesn't want to keep her away from him. We have already informed him about all the secret passages. He has written everything in the diary. Sam was confused to understand how he knew everything. Later on, the man introduced himself, Joseph, the owner of this building. They have sacrificed 16 people themselves to make this building unbreakable and eternal. No one else knows that other than the caretaker. To take revenge for her husband's death, caretakers have imprisoned Joseph in his home. Place where he cannot get out. Probably, due to this she never allows anyone on the terrace. In front of the police, she claimed his husband's death as Joseph. Thereafter she punished Joseph in her own way. She knows that when the building will be destroyed, the secret of Joseph will be disclosed as well. But Jimmy interrupted her plan. Sam was confused. She notices there is a garbage room behind the wall. It could be broken. She makes a plan and uses Jimmy against himself. She informs Jimmy that she gets injured and needs medicine which isn't in her room. Jimmy brings the medicine. She makes a blast for which but the wall couldn't be broken. But the caretaker becomes aware of her son's plan. For this, she reproaches him. She restricts Jimmy to bring out Sam as she is uncovered by the mystery of Joseph which they have concealed for quite a long time. For that, she needs to bite the dust with Joseph. Jimmy sends the report to her office and sinks her vehicle into the lake. In this way, nobody follows her. Sam was terrified and mentioned Jimmy to save her. Yet, Jimmy would rather not conflict with his mom. Sam asks for help from Joseph, however he embarrasses Sam and attempts to drive her. Sam sees if he has any desire to kill her, however Joseph pronounces that this is his grave. He needs to forfeit himself. After that this building will be eternal. Needs to do his homicide, he makes her enraged. Basically, she kills him. Later on, Joseph presses a button after that concrete begins to get entombed in his grave. He has previously arranged everything. Here Sam's father brings individuals to this spot. On the proper parts, bombs were put. Every one of the arrangements is made. At last, the assignment of tumbling down the structure is finished. They salvage everybody. Jimmy was confused. How he could allow Sam to be killed. Out of nowhere Jimmy starts saying Sam and then screams her name and runs toward the building to the terrace. Sam was faint in a dig. Standing by listening to the name Sam from Jimmy, certain individuals pursue him. As caretaker Mary informed them that Sam has previously gone and they trusted her. Jimmy acknowledges he is currently in a difficult situation and doesn't have any desire to be in prison. Jimmy throws himself over and lands next to Sam to commit suicide. Later on, his mom was captured. Sam was safeguarded and hospitalized. The demolding of the structure was deferred. Till to be aware of Joseph it wouldn't be obliterated. Since it is his showstopper. Its structure hasn't been obliterated till now and will remain his legacy. There is something particularly amazing, that he has worked on something while developing this structure, and that's how the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe for more recaps and comment on our videos. Turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.